Hi, I'm Rick Scholl with Workbench Enterprises. Today we're going to install the wiring harness for the Kango Wii onto the wheelchair. This is the wiring harness you'll get. It'll look like this when you receive it in your package. The wiring harness consists of the switch box that has this on and off switch on top with the LED that lets you know that the switch is on. Secondly, we have the connections for the battery. It will be shipped to you with a 10 amp fuse in it, and they're also labeled. The positive and negative terminals are labeled, so you'll know which one goes to where. Thirdly, you have the connector for the solenoid itself. So the first thing you're going to do is get to the batteries, and that's going to require to take off some covers to get to them. This is a Quickie 636 wheelchair. The battery cover's in the back, so you remove the little handles in the back. Drop the cover down and that exposes the battery. All you do is pull it out and you have a positive and negative connection here. What I like to do is double check the power of the voltage of the battery, make sure the voltage is proper. So I get a voltmeter and I'll do that real quick. This battery is almost 13 volts, so we are good there. So what we're going to do is make our connections to the battery now. As you can see, our power wire and ground wire are labeled, so there's no confusion on which one's which. The harness, when you receive it, will have a 10 amp fuse in it. What we want to do is go ahead and remove the 10 amp fuse before installation. And you always want to install the 12 volt power wire first. What we're going to do is go ahead and make our connections to the positive side of the battery. As you can see, there's a hole where the factory wire runs through this plastic rubber cap. What I like to do is route my wire through the same one. That way everything stays in sync with factory. So we're going to remove the nut. Put our wire in there and reinstall the washer and nut. And we're going to go ahead and tighten that up. What this does, by routing the wire through the factory hole, it allows this cover to go back over the terminal of the battery and sit the way it should, the way it was intended for. Now we'll go ahead and make our negative connection. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to route it through the little plastic cover. Take the nut and washers off. Make our ground connection. Reinstall the washers. And go ahead and tighten it down. And by routing those wires through that cap, see how they lay right down real nice like they were supposed to. Then what I like to do is get a wire tie. And I'd like to put a wire tie around the factory wire also. That'll hold this harness in place so nothing gets pulled and tugged on. That keeps that nice and secure. We'll snip the end of that off, make it look clean. At this point then, what you want to do is go ahead and reinstall your fuse. Push it in there real tight and make sure it stays in there. So now that we made our connections to the batteries, when I remove this battery, keep in mind, and this will probably happen to yours also, that this back battery is connected to the front battery by means of this connector. So when I push this battery back in, we need to make that connection again. Before I push this battery in, because there's not much room under here, what I want to do is route the box and the cable for the solenoid towards the front. we'll pick out different locations to fasten the wires to the frame as we move up front. Bring the box up through here. Bring the solenoid wire with it. Okay, now we can reconnect our battery. Okay, close your cover, reattach your bolts. Where we're at now is I removed this cover back in step one when we were getting to the batteries. And how I did that with this type of seat base, it just has one detent pin in the front. You remove that and that allows you to swivel the chair up, okay, and that allowed me to pull this cover off. So what we want to do is reinstall the cover. Make sure your wires are routed out of the box in such a manner that they won't get pinched. So what I've done is I have my wires coming out of the back, and what you want to do is find the suitable location for the switch harness and the harness for the solenoid, whatever the customer wants, on the left side or the right side. Once you find that location, you're going to start directing your wire, attaching it with wire ties to the frame. And keep in mind to make sure that there is no pinching points where the wire is going to get pinched. So I have my cover reinstalled, put my pin back in, my seat base is down. So what I'm going to do now is start routing my wires for the switch box. This customer wants a switch box over here on the right. So I'm going to start routing it along the frame with wire ties. So what we've done here, we found a suitable location for the switch box, and this is where this customer would like his. So our suggestion would be to mount the switch box first and start your wiring from the front to the back. That way if there's any excess of cable, because we give you plenty of cable, if there's any excess you can wire tie it in the back underneath the seat base. Alright, so we have our switch box mounted. We routed our wire along the frame. Wire tied it along here. No pinch points. Nothing's going to get damaged. One thing you want to be careful of, this is just a basic tilt seating system. There is a bunch of different seating systems out there. This one just tilts back. So you have some that will elevate, recline, tilt. The back will move independently from the footrest, and the footrest will move independently. So you have to be really, really careful how you route your wires. If anybody has any questions on how to install one of these, you have our contact information on our website, and please don't hesitate to call. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Alright, well, thanks for watching and have a great day.